Here it is, the magnificent Volvo. This is what $700 worth of car will get you these days. So I have to keep it over here under a tarp, hidden behind trash cans, otherwise the city will come and write me a ticket for a vehicle in the grass. This is exactly how I got it. Old battery, 2018, zero charge. I did get it to crank over and almost start before I purchased it. As you can see, the water pump pulley is not there. He said he replaced the crank pulley down there because it was slipping on the crank or something. I don't know, but it seems as though it could just be old gas in this car, potentially. We're going to find out. Let me give you a quick look at the inside. So, mechanical windows roll up and down. They still work really well. Optional cup holder. Cracked dash, but nothing too bad. 141,000 miles. Not too bad for one of these either. Interior really isn't all that bad, but it looks very cozy. I've never had one of these cars before, so I'm excited to see how this one does. As you can see, the outside's actually pretty good. A little bit of paint flake up here, rust underneath. I don't know what that is. I'm going to just leave that. And then looking at this side, not too shabby. Missing some trim right there, but just ignore that. The underneath of this car is almost perfect. I found a little bit of rust on the driver's side wheel well at the back, but that was it. Other than that, it's pretty clean. Trunk, very clean in the trunk as well. I did start removing the fuel pump to drain the gas. I think that's going to be our first action with this car. Well, here we are in the trunk of the Volvo. I have a little update. Pulled out the fuel sender unit. I had to cut one of the fuel line band clamps. It was very, very rusty. Just the screw off this guy would not back off. Had to cut it off. I did get the fuel pump off. It had actually come loose from the line here, that hose sending fuel to the engine. It had totally come off from there. Either this clamp backed off or it just slipped off maybe while I was trying to get it out, but it had also come off of the rack somehow. Anyway, getting it out, I did break this one connection here, so we're going to solder that back on. I already have it right here with a hole drilled to pop that wire through, solder it back together. And then also, yeah, look at that gas. That's what we're dealing with. I think that's a big part of why it wouldn't start. But if that fuel pump was slipping off of there slowly, it would do what the previous owner was describing, where the motor just occasionally, slowly started dying, getting harder to start. That would be fuel pressure loss right there, of it just putting fuel back into the tank, basically. So let's try soldering this and putting this back together. So I did rig up something else. I forgot on these fuel pumps, they actually need to be vertical, similar to how this one is, they only operate if they're vertical and pushing fuel upward, sucking from the bottom of the fuel pump. So I put this other one into there, nothing on the bottom, no sock or anything. That way you can pull off the very bottom of the tank. That ran from the top to this jug here. And that way I can stand it up like this. You hear it? We're pumping fuel out of the gas tank. Okay, you can stop recording. So here we are outside the Volvo. Anyways, here's the gas. Came out of there. You can't really tell, but it's pretty brown. And there was probably a quarter tank inside of there, but now, it's kind of hard to tell, but I got that just about as low as you're possibly going to get it with this pump that I have. So, time to put the fuel pump assembly back in, put in fresh gas, and see if it starts before I move any further with anything else on this car. First, actually, before I put that in, I am going to hook the battery back up and come back and make sure that I hear the fuel pump clicking off and on, at least priming and telling me that it has power and everything's okay. I don't really understand how, but there's already just an ant infestation in this side of the car. There was a wasp infestation. That's what that is. But I knew that was there before. He actually had like 30 or 40 wasps underneath the back right side. They were all dead underneath when I got this. I haven't looked back there yet.
Yeah, I didn't see it move, but it went bzzz.
So that means fuel pump goes in. So cozy. I did manage to get it, just barely. I just had to squish it together all enough that I thought it was going to break, and then it went. So we'll see what happens when I do finally get this in, if it runs okay or not. We'll crank it, see what happens. Here we go. I'm going to try starting it. Fresh gas. Just in case. Put that right here. That sounded really bad. What did I just do? Okay, I'm starting to think they lied about this car when he sold it to me. So, this is how I got it. He said that someone had done the timing belt before this, and the whole reason he took it off and all this off was because the pulley was slipping. I wonder, there is no crankshaft key, however, I feel like a piece of a key in there. I just went, grabbed this, and noticed that it was spinning. Well, I think what just happened is because this wasn't tight on there, maybe it allowed that bottom to spin. I'm going to take this off and double check that the timing is okay, because that was weird how it tried to fire and then... Let's pull this cover off, see what we got. I bet that timing belt just mangled on us. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Now, I think someone was doing a timing job on this. is my guess, because if you look right here, there's our keyway. It looks like the key is missing from in there. This is actually a slot that the back of our crank pulley rests in, which he said was the initial problem, that the pulley had fallen apart somehow. I guess he said this rubber in between here had fallen apart and it was just spinning. So he replaced the crank. Well, that timing belt looks almost new. And then I noticed something else. One, there is a mark, probably for top dead center or something. But also, look, that's very loose. That's loose enough that I think we just jumped timing, probably. And that's bad anyways, the keyway being disintegrated like that. So I think next I try and spin this over until I find some kind of top dead center, pull that belt off, get everything lined up appropriately, put it back together. Thankfully, this is a non-interference motor. So in theory, what I just did, trying to start it like that, should not have caused any issues. And actually, it kind of makes sense with how I was acting before, that it skipped a tooth and was a tooth off, even though that was bad gas in the tank and probably needed to come out. I'm betting we're looking at timing issues here. Oh, look at that. See right here? So I can move, with my hand, I can move it up here. See, the crank didn't move, but that pulley did. That's what's wrong. Our keyway is disintegrated within there. See, look at this. No cracks, no nothing. I think this timing belt can be reused. I'm putting that back on instead of ordering another. So look here. I think I need to order another one of these gears because I lost, I believe this is what's remaining of what was right there. We need a new key on there to locate and time everything properly, actually. And this is the more important part. I'm okay that this part is broken because that actual keyway on the crank is okay. And that means I can put another part in. I could probably put this back together as is. So my new gear did come in for the Volvo. Here is the part that cracked. And I actually found out that this is manufactured from some kind of softer metal. This is the engineered failure point for if your timing is off like mine was and you backfire hard enough, I suppose, rather than damaging anything else, it's designed to break this first. I do still need to verify this. Now, the way that I understood from the videos is you have a mark here, which I had to move slightly off of to get the belt to catch down there, but I'm going to rotate it some and see if this all lines up because, and I don't know why they did this, seems like not the best idea, or just it makes it difficult to place your crank in the correct location. This keyway is supposed to align with that casting mark right there, that straight line. You're supposed to have this aligned, but then also the two marks on the timing belt line up with the keyway. I just wish they had the keyway somewhere that was in contact with the belt so that you knew sort of where to place it, but that's okay. I was fighting getting the belt around the crank. I ended up just stretching it around this because you have a lot more belt to stretch to get it over that compared to trying to do it down there. This dot, I just lined it up with the belt. I don't think it matters where it locates. I don't see anywhere to locate it on, and I don't think anything I read showed a place to locate it. So, with that, let's put our covers back on, our crank pulley back on, and then I gotta double check these are all lined up first. actually. I can count the number of teeth on the belt. 1, 2, 3, up to where that double line is at, and then I can count the number up to our keyway on the crank. So 1, 2, 3. Looks like that is aligned perfectly with it. I'm saying that this is going to line up with that when we spin it around now. I think that is good enough for me. I'm putting this cover back on in the crank pulley. We're going to try starting this thing again. Don't forget, this lines up with the keyway opposite of the crank keyway. This line lines up with the crank keyway because there's a raised surface on here that lines up with the crank pulley to keep it from moving as well. See, did you hear that? If I go and set it in place, I can... How do car channels do this? Seriously. So on this washer right here, see there's one here and one on the inside. Make sure that they have a flanged lip. If you look at them, it curves towards me out this way. So make sure that is going outward. Otherwise, if you have it inward, it will slice your timing belt. So look here. That line goes opposite of the keyway. Well, this line goes on the keyway, the small one. Press it on. You can rock it back and forth. And I know that is hard to see because of my hand, but it just rocks into place, sort of. Then don't touch it. So check this out. See, there is the 0 degree mark on our crank and on our cover up here. That's 0. That's lined up 0. Well, when I look up here, our top cam gear is lined up right on the mark as well. So I think we are good on our timing marks. The crank pulley is just a good way to double check it once you're this far together. Time to torque down that crank. And then I'm putting on the top cover, and then we're starting it. I don't see any leaks. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try it one more time, and then I'm pulling the plugs. There might just be a lot of bad fuel in the system. We could have clogged fuel injectors. It kind of sounds like that as well. Let's try cranking one more time. I'll give it a little bit more gas this time. Well, we are close. I think it's time to pull those plugs. Well, for starters, our number 4 spark plug is not even connected. Put that on. Yep, there's the click. Okay, well, let's try cranking it now. Well, I don't know. It ran for just a second. Yeah, none of these are... Oh, okay. Number 4 is hot. Number 3 is hot. Number 2 is not. And number 1 is not. We are not... Either we don't have fuel going to these two, or we don't have spark in the first 2. Because they are both cold. Number 3 is hot. Number 4 is really hot. That one's really firing. Well, here we are inside the distributor cap. And everything looks just fine. Nothing bent or missing. This cap looks almost new and should work just fine. Nothing on the rotor end either, but this plastic cover that's underneath of that plastic piece, I think that's called the rotor. This plastic piece that sits on top was kind of mashed in, so I fixed that, positioned it right. As you can see, the rubber down here is gone, but that isn't any reason why this shouldn't still work. Whew, that's rich. Well, there's cylinder number 1 spark plug. This plug wire was firing, but looks like we need a new one anyways. I'm gonna mark it just so I know where it's from. 2 is very wet. Not as rich as 1. Oh, sorry. Didn't know you couldn't see there. So, here's 1, right? Very black and sooty and rich. Here's number 2. It looks healthier. 2 looks as though it's burning more of the fuel, I think. Number 3 is a bit of a mix of the 2. 4 is kind of a mix of the 2 also. It looks like it just has a lot of carbon, a lot of like crap on it. I don't know what that is. I realized for this test I have 2 electrical grounds that run onto the back side of the fuel injector rail here, and those were disconnected when I removed it. So now I put in 2 smaller bolts there and right up there, and I connected those grounds. So hopefully this test works now. Well, it's firing on all 4. I don't think we have a fuel issue. $140. Here goes number 2. $150. Even better. I just gave it a little PB blaster just in case if those cylinders are starting to wash down or something from me cranking and the oil having a lot of gas in it. It's not a ton of gas, but it's enough. Here goes number 3. $155. Yeah, $155. Look at that. 4. This is cylinder number 4. And 155. This is quickly becoming the nicest car I've ever owned. So we have our compression test done. We got really good numbers, all very even across the board. And now that tells me 2 things. First of all, that the problem now must be ignition or timing related. Not timing related on the timing belt, but on the distributor. Also, it tells me that this might be the nicest car I have ever owned, actually. Because I've never tested stuff that's that close. So I did verify this off camera. I actually had someone crank the car while I was sitting over here with the spark plugs in a better location. We do have spark on all 4 spark plugs. And that means that we have ignition right there in the cylinder. I believe that we are now at the wrong time. So I'm going to check the distributor and see if it's clocked correctly. I'm betting right now it's probably on like number 2 when it needs to be on number 1. Oh, well, that's nice. Where does that go? It's kind of hard to see. We see that bolt right there and how there's a slot that curves out to the right. That is our distributor adjustment, and I'm thinking it's all the way to the left right now, which is not a good sign. You don't want to be all the way over. He probably took out the distributor and put it back in the wrong spot. So let's try going to top dead center on the compression stroke. We do that by cranking it over, putting our hand on the spark plug hole and feeling for when it blows out, because we know it's building compression and about to fire on cylinder number 1. Let's find where that is, and then make sure down here on the crank that we are lined up with our 0 degree mark on the plastics right there. And then we're going to make sure that this part, the rotor of our distributor, is matching up with spark plug number 1, which, to find number 1, I believe it's this one. I should have marked it before I pulled it off. No, it's this one. Yeah, I'll go ahead and mark those now with a Sharpie. But you can tell which one's number 1 because of where the spark plug wire runs to. And I like marking on both sides which cylinder those line up with. It helps a lot doing this kind of thing. Okay, camera set up, battery on.
I think this might be one of the hottest days.
Yeah, it's going to be like this tomorrow too. I know. Go ahead and just do it little bits at a time. Go like dirt, dirt. Stop. Do a little more. All right, hold up. Go a tiny bit more. Stop. That's too much. Oh, just do a little, like, touch it. Do tiny little jumps. Well, no, just like touch it for a second. That was good. Actually, yeah. Stop there. I think we're done. That makes sense. So look at this. I think he is one tooth off, or more like one plug off on his timing, because so here's number 1 right here. If you look, this flat lines up with where that clip is. So right now where this is positioned is more like on I guess that's 3. I'll have to check and make sure I have these in the correct order, as well as have the rotor located correctly as well down there. Right now, I think we're wrong. So let's try this. I'm gonna move all of these forward 1. So just kind of sitting around looking. This hose, I figured out where it runs to. I see that down there. That's perfect. So while I'm here, I think this runs on the inside of there. That fits pretty good. That seems right. So this is for our fuel system. This is our fuel pressure regulator. It needs a vacuum source to know how hard the vehicle is running, to tell it how much fuel to allow to pass from here back to the tank, because it needs high pressure in the fuel rail by the injectors. The rest of it just sends it back to the tank and it flushes it around and around. And we'll push that hose back on. That looks pretty good, better than it was. Okay, so now I have these rotated 1 ahead of where they were. So this is number 1. Here's our flat. They'll line up with that clip on the side, which tells us our distributor should be pointed right about at cylinder number 1. I'm going to go ahead and loosen that bolt down there as well and position our distributor more towards the middle of its range of motion. And then I think we're going to start this car. It's actually going to run some. First, I am going to look up that I have the correct order on the top of the distributor, because at this point, I don't think the guy before me had any of this correct. So here's the actual firing order, 1, 3, 4, 2. See how the plugs line up to the corresponding cylinder. So let's try that. Yeah, so that's what I thought. I'm looking at it right here. This guy had, and I just rotated these. I did not change the order of them. See, I marked them. That's number 3. That's number 4. He had it 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess he never looked at how it's supposed to be. Maybe, I don't know. Let's try moving these correctly. So it's 1, 3, 4, 2. Let's change that. 1, 3, 4, 2. And see, same deal again. We got that flat in the correct spot. Let's try breaking loose that bolt. All right, we moved. She's moving. I can't move it back now. Uh-oh. Oh, I moved it. Nice. I think I moved it just the right amount. Well, let's put our distributor cap back on, see where we're at. Whew. It is so humid out here that it just started raining and there wasn't even a cloud above me. I'm sure you can tell just how sweaty I am. We gotta get this thing moving. Well, that's everything. Time to go start it.
Yeah, it did.
See this surface right here? That's a press-on surface or a close fit surface. So right here on our pulley, that needs to be clean. And the whole reason I actually started taking this back off again is because that surface is very dirty. And I didn't clean it before putting it on, and it was really struggling going on. I didn't want to have to force it because I knew I would not be able to get it back off again if I put that on. So this surface needs to be flat, and that surface needs to be clean for it to fit on here properly. So let's do that now. So I just used some WD-40 and a whetstone because, as you can see, I made some gouges on this surface with my screwdriver trying to get this back off. I should probably stone off this surface too, but it feels okay. I'm not going to bother with that. Clean off this surface too around here so that it's an easy slip onto this surface. Not very tight on that belt. It is on the other one. I've got other belts. Maybe I need to swap that out. So this guy had 3 different belts in the car. One of them that's the one I just bought today for the AC compressor because none of these were quite long enough. But also none of these 2 are the same length. I thought this one and this one was, so they could work here on the alternator water pump crank pulley system together, but they are not. Because they are not, I'm going to have to order another belt that matches one of these 3. And I think I liked this one the best. It seemed to be the shortest of them, and it seemed to fall in a good spot. Once I have these belts on and tightened down, that's the adjustment for the alternator. Once I have all these tightened down, I'm going to come back in and tighten this. Also, there's a fan shroud that goes here. You're probably supposed to put that on before you remove or before you put on the fan here. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to do that right now just because if that fan shroud is there, I won't be able to reach the crank pulley. I want to figure that out before I put on this. If I have to take off that fan again, I can. That's not such a big deal. But we're very close. I'm going to look into these belts and see what I can find. I was able to get the right size belt that matches this one, the old Duralast 15 365. As you can see, they are the same. So let's throw these on and see how well they fit and if they both tighten up the same. They should be the same length belt. Okay, so at the moment, the motor starts and then dies. And I figured they might be doing that just because it's not seeing a charge from the alternator. 2, it may see that the AC system power steering isn't turning. couldn't be the water pump. There's no sensor related to that. And I forgot to check this when I was starting it, we may not have oil pressure. I didn't verify that, but the engine oil on this car does smell like it has some gas in it, so I bought an oil change kit. I'm going to try I'm going to change the oil soon after I get it started. I would like to get started, debating doing it now. Something else I'm going to do that I thought about last night, but didn't really get around to, I'm going to try and show you. It's way down in there. On our distributor there. So that is the bolt hole for the distributor setting. And see how it's slotted? That allows us to rotate it. And actually that shiny spot is where the bolt was before, and everything else around it is corroded. Now I have to put that bolt back in, but first, before I do, I'm going to blow it out with a straw just to get all the fluid out that I sprayed, all the penetrating fluid out of that hole. Because if I don't, the pressure built up underneath that screw could expand down and in as that bolt goes in and blow out the bottom of that hole, because the fluid has nowhere to go. Eventually it can crack or damage the aluminum below, and then you have a way bigger problem. So just to be safe, I'm gonna blow it out real quick. Look at how much nasty stuff was down there just from the straw. I may need to clean that out with an actual air compressor. That's pretty dirty. I'm gonna try putting some coolant in this, see if it leaks out anywhere. It's just kind of a dangerous moment, because if it leaks out anywhere, I just have to fix more.
You have to what?
I have to fix more.
Oh.
If it leaks.
Little gulf right there. It's called Puget Sound.
Yeah.
And he worked.
So there we are, halfway between minimum and maximum, and when I squeeze on either hose, I can tell there's at least some coolant there, top and bottom. Sounds like it's cycling through the system, sort of. Well, it will stop at our thermostat. I won't be able to bleed this system properly until I have the motor warm enough that the thermostat opens up. So once we get this running, we'll keep an eye on that and just check and make sure it does not overheat. I don't see any drips, coolant anywhere. Looking under the car, I see grass. I don't see or hear anything. I think we're good on coolant, and really, it's going to sit like this a minute until that second belt comes in. So we'll keep an eye on that fluid level. Let it sit for a while with the cap off, I suppose. Ooh. I yanked out our air filter. As you can see, it's pretty rough. I'm going to get another. Still no sign of a coolant leak. Keep our fingers crossed, but one place I like to check is around the bottom of the water pump pulley. That's a pretty common leak place, but I think we're doing pretty good. Our MAP sensor seems fine. I was looking at it a little bit. It seems just fine. If you see any big damage on the front, I may want to pull that off and get a look inside, because the actual sensor is not that screen at the front. It's a little filament that's like further inside of that housing. Maybe I'll look at that real good before we put this back together also. So I'm thinking, because these are both different batches, same part number, but they're made at a different time. So I'm thinking maybe they're just slightly different. I'm really fed up messing with these two stupid belts. So I'm just putting these on. I'm going to see if one of them wears down to match the other side. I just tried cleaning off some of the belt pulley spots to see if maybe they were catching on something, but let's put these on and say hell with it for now. Now that I have tension on these belts, I can tighten up these bolts. Same thing as a wheel with this. Go opposite sides, torque it in flat and evenly is the goal. So that's what I did. You want to get, usually my rule for belts, half a turn. If you can turn it about half a turn at the max, I call it good. Let's see, it's about right, half a turn or so. I like that. Let's put in our fancy new air filter. Got our oil in right at the middle on the dipstick, and that's going to go down a tiny bit just because that oil filter isn't filled all the way and it's got to move through the system. So we'll let it run for a little bit and then check it again. Here is the old oil that came out, and it's darker than I thought, but actually, and there was dirt and grime in this thing before. I didn't really see any oil, any chips, any metal, any flakes. And that's a very good sign. So let's try starting it, see if it'll run a little bit longer this time now with everything hooked up maybe. Just my cardboard tube thing, ignore that. Everything seems pretty normal. It's time to do a little bit of research, see why it's doing that. Good news, however, from starting that, eliminated a couple of things for me. One, our oil pressure light turned off. That means we have good oil pressure. That's fantastic. If you didn't, this motor would self-destruct very quickly. Two, our charging light, or our battery light went off. That means that our alternator is working, I believe. This is kind of interesting. It looks like our belts are actually getting closer. Maybe it's just wearing into that pulley, one of the pulleys or something. I don't know. I'll try tightening that up a little bit later, but that's better than it was, you know. Well, I have something real quick to try. I read online. It's a good test. And based on the symptoms we're having, I'm kind of thinking this will tell us something. So that's our mass airflow sensor. It's called something else on these cars. I forget what. Air mass sensor, massive air, something. So with that unplugged, the car should run in limp mode. From what I read, with that connected, if the sensor is bad, it will run for a little bit and die, similar to how it was just doing. So let's try now and see what happens. Okay, well, see, that tells me then it must be that sensor, because we're running right now and this is the longest that it has ran. So let's do some research and see what we can come up with for that sensor. I don't know, maybe I could even get away with just cleaning it. Unfortunately, that means that this has to come off again, which I'm not too happy about, but we'll get there. We're getting closer. Well, here is our sensor. So it's really difficult to see on camera, but you can almost see up at the top. There is a very thin filament, like a small wire that runs around those 4 posts right there on the edge. If that's broken, normally that will cause a bad sensor, but here it's not broken. It seems fine. I don't know, maybe you just have to get another one. So I went and bought a can of this, actually just to test it. I have another mass sensor, AMM, air mass meter, on the way, which is this part. I just took it out, cleaned it with that, put it back in. We're going to see right now if it starts and runs with it connected, because if it does, that means it was just dirty and it's fixed, we hope. Also, something I noticed, this vacuum line has a tiny crack right there. I'm just going to cut this hose right there and put it on a little further, cut this piece off. Just, you want to eliminate any vacuum leaks that you see anytime you can. That was worth a try. Hopefully this new one I'm ordering worked. Took a little bit, but I did get another MAF sensor in the mail. Factory one, Bosch. Time to swap it out. It's got 2 check marks, so you know it's twice as good. See, we have Dorchfluss, I guess that's how you say. I know that letter that looks like B kind of sounds like an S. Dorchfluss, or flow, is that direction. It's probably a good idea to have your clamps loose before trying to put in this 10mm bolt right here, right now, here, into the sensor, just so that it all shifts and aligns properly. No binds in the hoses, whatever, and don't cross thread that either. That would be bad. Did notice this. There is a wire tight around a metal ring here. I think that's some kind of sensor on the side. Maybe it's our oil pressure sensor even, which worked. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. Come back to it. Same with the crank pulley up here and the fan shroud. We'll get those done once I get it started and moved out of here. Time to start it. Try it again. Got a fire extinguisher just in case. Battery. Let's run it enough to bleed the hurt the coolant. See if we can't get it up to temperature. Hopefully this MAF is the issue. Smoking where? Yeah. That's okay. It's the most it's ran yet. Exhaust leaking. Nothing alarming up here. No leaks, no drips, no fuel. Seems to be running okay. So now I gotta keep an eye on the coolant. Watch as it burps. The goal is for the motor to warm up and run enough that it bleeds the thermostat, or it opens thermostat and allows the coolant to flow through the system and burp out any air that's trapped in the system to up there. Good way to try that is do not put your hand anywhere near that, but put your hand on this hose. See, I can move the coolant in there, so I know that there's some at least up to here, but I don't know if there is any in the motor, in between the cylinders or not. Let's keep an eye on our temperature gauge and try and let it run some. Oh no, something's ticking kind of hard. Maybe that's what they're supposed to sound like. Okay, temperature gauge is rising. Not at a dangerous level yet. Okay, temperature is still safe. It's climbing though, that's good. Just wait a little while longer. Coolant level's still good. Everything looks good down there by the crank. I'm watching and making sure that bolt doesn't back out because I didn't truly tighten it. It's sounding better. Yep. Yeah, they all four, it seems like they all have heat, so they're all firing. Still a little smoky, but I think it is clearing up some. I wonder if that exhaust is just clogged somewhere halfway. That stinks though. It smells like it hasn't ran in a long time. We're getting towards the middle. That's good. So we should start seeing some air coming through the system. Now, the easiest way to test that you're getting the air out is to make sure you have flow. Best way to make sure you have flow is put your hand on the hose. And if I can have my hand here, that thermostat, which is right here on the motor, has not opened up. It has to open up to allow flow through the system, or that motor gets too hot. And you'll feel the coolant flowing with your hand right here. Right towards the middle, it should be opening up any minute now. And when it opens up, hopefully I see a bunch of bubbles come up through here. Not yet. What about down here? It's getting warmer. Whole motor is getting warmer. Rev it some, move the coolant through. Maybe that'll get it to open up. That last bit of revving. Oh, it's chilling right there. Okay, but we need to see that thermostat open up. Okay, now I feel it. This hose is a lot warmer. That tells me that thermostat is opening just a little bit and allowing coolant to flow through. Okay, now it's starting to flow a little more. That's good. Oh, nice. It still hasn't moved. Perfect. We might be good then. Let's see if the radio still works. No, I don't think so. Nope, not yet. Okay, hold your breath. Good. Good. Everything smells okay. Temperature still looking good. No warning lights, no oil pressure's good. We're charging. Chilling, as long as the grass isn't on fire under the car, which it might be. No, we're okay. We did it, Snoop. We did it. Oh man. Whoa. Yeah, okay. You win. Whew, damn. There, that's better. Car's a little bald on the outside, has not much tread on the inside, but running it for now. Okay, let's keep moving on these tires. Oh, gotta keep an eye on the temperature gauge. You're still good, chilling there in the middle. It may have climbed a little, I don't know. We need gas for sure. I wonder if that gauge is accurate or not. All right, one left. Good flow through the thermostat. It's pretty warm on the bottom of here. Well, even after sitting all that time, I never saw it belch any bubbles, but temperature stayed really in a good spot. I'm happy with that. So we're gonna clean up a little bit up there. Then let's drive this thing out, see if we have a transmission. Let's check trans fluid first. I don't think I've even looked at that yet. Way down here. Sometimes on a dipstick or in a manual it will say, with motor running in neutral, check your transmission level, or something along those lines. Here, I guess you just make sure it's running and then dip this in. If it's got fluid, you're okay. I don't know. I'll have to look this up. But on the plus side, it doesn't really smell burnt or anything. And check it here. Still has some of its red texture. This seems okay. Might be dirty. Who knows if this fluid has ever been changed for the life of the vehicle or not. I don't know. Something else I didn't even think about checking before. I try to move this brake fluid level. I will say the outside of this is very corroded, as well as right here. That's never a good sign because brake fluid is very corrosive, and these are usually cast iron, I believe, and this is just what it does. It eats away at it. And brakes have issues over time. It happens. The level is actually okay. It was around, I can't really see past that screen. I don't know. But it feels like it has a pedal, so we're going to try this. Let's clean up a little bit first. Shut the hood, shut the doors. Let's try and get this out of here. That bothers me. I don't know what to really do about it yet. I'll have to look into that, but other than that, I don't hate it. It's actually a pretty clean car. Ignore the missing trim there and there. Ignore that too. Okay. I think it's time we move it. We're moving. It even comes with a reverse. I had the e-brake on. It does even better with the e-brake off. Okay, hop in. We're gonna go get sushi.
Lavender just went bye 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 bye.
Bye 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 bye. So it's later on at night right now. I decided, let's check and see if we have headlights maybe. Oh, okay. Missing left side tail lights. Hey! Oh, look at that. Got both fronts and the markers. Okay. Oh, blinkers work. We don't have our front left. Okay, we can figure that out. Well, it is now the next morning here. It is time to take this thing for a test drive, but first, I want to put some more gas into it, just to make sure that we don't run out on the test drive. I'm really hoping that gas gauge is working as well. We're going to find out. I added about half a gallon. We'll see what that does there. I did leave our battery hooked up last night. Let's see if it drained it. Let's see if it starts now. Okay, got our fire extinguisher just in case. Let's see if it starts again. Sure does start kind of rough. Our fuel gauge is climbing. Maybe it is. Yeah, I think it is working. Look, well, I think it's time to take it for the test drive. That's a great sign when you go to move the car and you find pieces of the exhaust on the ground. Looks like we have a pretty good leak of that. Looks like oil. That could have been from me changing the oil, possibly. Because here's where the front tire was. I'm going to say that's from me. Seatbelt works. We are in drive. Power steering's working really well, too. Speedo works. Yeah, we're doing it. The brakes actually work really well. That's a nice surprise. I'm doing pretty good, I would say. I'm gonna pull over just a second. Let's see if we got heat. Oh, this sounds wonderful. Look at us driving our project car. It drives really nice too. Oh, we are getting a little warmer on the temperature gauge there. Let's pull over a minute, take a look at everything. I don't see exhaust leaking anywhere. That's good. I don't even see anything dripping at the front. That's an even better thing. See, like I was saying, it's actually really clean underneath here. Except for that. That's literally the worst spot on the whole car. The rest of this, pretty good. Oh, she's climbing a little bit. Let's head back. Oh, what's that light? No light. Okay. I guess that's telling me I have a brake light out. That's not bad if that's our only warning light. Temperature gauge hasn't moved. We're floating right there in the middle. So it's not overheating, but I still better get back, I guess. Try bleeding it again now that that thermostat has really opened up and flowed some for us. I call that a very successful first test drive. I do smell oil. Maybe just some oil burning off somewhere or something, but I definitely smell it. Hope it's not leaking and burning off. Flowing. We are moving coolant. Oh, look, we have zero coolant in here. I gotta shut that off and add more. Well, it's been sitting a minute or two. Let's try starting this again. See if I can't get that coolant level to go down. Let's just see how it starts when it's warm. Yeah, sounds pretty happy. And that coolant level did come back up after it sat for a minute. I'm gonna have to research how to bleed that coolant properly. We also need to tighten that crank bolt and get our fan shroud on here. Okay, it's time to do our timing here. I'm glad I actually thought of this before putting the fan shroud back on, because I don't know if I'd be able to do it with the fan shroud in place. But right there on our crank pulley, you can kind of see it on either side of the belt. There is a small mark. And then here on our plastic, here, it's also kind of hard to see. So on this, with our timing light, this one from your timing light, I don't know what it's even called, but anyways, you hook onto spark plug number 1. And the goal is, whenever it senses a trigger on number 1 that it is firing, you should see down here where that notch lines up with the timing marks. And I'm going to have to look it up where you need to be at idle, but I believe it's going to be 15 degrees advanced is what we're shooting for. So with the car running, well, actually first, I'm going to use some white paint and a little zip tie, and I'm just going to dab a little bit of white paint into that groove so it's easier for me to see while the car is running. So now you can see that mark a lot better. That didn't work as well as I hoped because the spray paint was a little runny. Normally you want to use a paint marker or something. I just don't have one right now. So this will work for me being able to see the actual mark. Unfortunately, my footage of doing the timing and setting it correctly didn't get recorded. My camera died and I didn't realize. So I'm going to take the opportunity to go ahead and verify our timing now, a few weeks later, and just also check over some fluids and other things too. This is one hilarious thing that I noticed. This little vacuum diagram, vacuum hose routing. It looks like there are 4 vacuum lines required for this car to run, but that is all that you need to run, I suppose. Which really is incredible considering how many vacuum lines a modern vehicle has. I have been noticing a little bit of belt squeal while driving this car for the past couple of weeks. I noticed this belt is tight. This one got way worse, which is what normally happens. So I may as well just be running on one belt now. Looks like that's happening anyway. I'm going to pull that off and see if I can't get 2 of these belts at the same time that are exactly the same length. I'm going to go ahead and pull these belts. I'm just running one for now. AI told me I shouldn't, but it's running one right now basically, and nothing bad has happened. Also, even if it did slip, if it does stop working, if it broke completely, it's not like I'm going to really destroy anything if it does. I don't really see the problem. I'm doing it. Forget AI. Don't know. So I got our one belt off now. I also have our timing light here. So when I hit this power button, it will tell me when it's seeing the trigger on spark plug number 1. So let's see where we're at. So I know it's really hard to see, but you see the little white line down there on the crank as it goes around? Well, we have 3 marks on our timing cover. One is 20, 10, is 0. Right now, we're at 20. I believe we're aiming for 12, so actually, I am going to have to adjust this. And to do that, I need to break loose our bolt back on the behind the distributor, and I need to rotate it, I believe that way, to retard our timing slightly. So I wanted to show our distributor exactly what I'm doing. First, you should soak right here with some PB Blaster. It's where our distributor meets into the iron block. Second, you can see right down here, see that little chrome shiny spot next to my finger? That is where our distributor was resting all of this time. I actually need to move it that way to retard our timing slightly. And to do that, I need to loosen that bolt down there. And then I'm going to take a small punch and a hammer and try pushing it that way, because this distributor is really tight in the block. I can't really move it with my hand. I have to hit it with the hammer some. Oops. Well, we are now just a little bit closer to where their mark was. Let's see what our timing's like now. It's hard to see, but there we are. Yep, right there. So I had to look it up actually, right here. I didn't even see this, but that is our 0 mark. Those 3 marks over there are 10, 15, and 20. We're between 15 and 10. That should put us right about 12. So we're good on timing now. It was adjusted too far that way, actually. I had done that incorrectly. So timing's good now. So my camera died here, but I was able to get the fan shroud on and the fan on. All 4 of those bolts are pretty tight. The belt is tensioned again, and up here, we got 1 screw on this side, but because there was no material left here, we just drilled a hole, put a zip tie in, and now the fan moves a tiny bit down at that end, but I don't think that's enough to hit this fan or anything. Another good check. Spin your fan around. Doesn't seem like it's hitting anything, so I think we are all good to go to the gas station and get some more gas in this baby. First official test of the Volvo. Drove up to the gas station, got some donuts, coffee, and a taquito. Does the wife approve? Wife approves of the Volvo. That's good.
Ah, drives smooth.
All right.
It's quiet.
Trying to get the AC to work. I don't quite know how it works or if it works. We'll play around with that some more.
Blowing cold air. Just not super cold air.
Not super cold.
Not AC level cold.
Starts nice once you start it. Once you start it once.
Let's see how smooth of a drive it is. We're at hot coffee.
Full thing of hot coffee. Twisty roads. Twisty back roads. She just glides over the bumps.
Pretty smooth.
Yeah, this is normally very bumpy.
Oh yeah. All of our cars.
Yeah. I said it in an earlier video of this thing. This still might be the nicest car I've ever owned.
Man, so far. Seems like it. I mean, the newer cars were nice with all the, electric stuff, heat seats and stuff like that, but
They had their issues though.
that's what I'm saying, like, we don't need that stuff.
No. Then this has heated seats.
Oh!
You want to test them?
Not really, because it's so hot out.
I'm going to test mine.
The test yours, I don't want mine on. Heat seat.
Testing my heated seat. Let's see if it starts working or not.
And looky there.
Not a drop.
Well, 2 drops.
2 drops. It gets a 2-drop score.
That's pretty good.
All right, let's give it some gas.
Oh. Whoop.
A little bumpy right there, but my golly, that's a smooth car.
Did not lose much coffee at all.
Imagine how smooth it would be with new tires.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think our next step for this vehicle is to try and get it street legal. Get it inspected, get it to pass inspection, and to do that, we have to get our blinker fixed on I believe the front passenger is out. We also have to work on our rear brake lights. See that? The orange light down there? No light bulbs allowed. That just means that we are missing one of our rear tail lights. Sorry, one of our brake lights. Yes, we are missing a brake light. But also, turn on our lights. See, we have this right side. Then we don't have the left side. And I've narrowed it down to being this plug, I believe. So if I jiggle this plug, see, they come on, they go off. I'm gonna try messing with this plug here, see if I can't get that connection a little better. I also want to inspect all these bulbs, check the grounds while I'm here. Let's investigate these tail lights because we're gonna need them to pass inspection. See that one of the connections has been damaged, it looks like. It's also damaged on our plug side. You can see the corrosion and that third one from the right down there, so we gotta fix that on both sides. I can't get either of these to go. See how that heated up and bubbled? Probably means we have an issue with that bulb, or we did at one time, or the wiring leading to it where it got way too hot. Seems like it shorted out somehow or something. Yeah, same deal on this side. That one has some bad corrosion on it, needs cleaned. I'll clean it on this side too. I might have to take these tail lights out, really clean them up and put them back in. This is kind of fun. Oh, that's actually really helpful. I can use that on my other scissor jacks, I think. Actually, I'm not sure what this is. It must be for this jack. It did come with the factory jack, factory snow shovel. Oh, I haven't been down here yet. Actually, this is kind of fun. Comes with tire iron, spare tire, a spare tire, and a lot of ants. Okay, time out. Ooh, we gotta do something about that. That's pretty bad. Hey, it did come with a turtle catcher. I was kind of waiting to see if this car was worth a damn before I started cleaning it out. But since it's running and driving, I better clean up just a little bit. It's pretty nasty back here. We do have some cool stuff though. 1-inch wrench, 15/16 on the other side. That's a keeper. I keep vacuuming up one thing, and there's ants. I'm like, that's surely the end of them. Then I vacuum up another, and there's more ants. And then there's just more ants the deeper I go. Okay, we got this one out. Time to get the other one out. I think it has an issue on the same place in the plug. Looking here at the other side, looks like that contact, which is kind of weird, same one as the other side, got very hot and corroded, burned through, shorted out. That could be why. We have a lot of water inside of our housing. We gotta clean that out. So I did look up this green filament that was on the back of these tail lights. It was about $30 or $40 for replacement, and I didn't want to do it because the plug was already damaged, so I opted to just hardwire our tail lights here, as you can see. Well, we got our left blinker working. Oh, sorry. We got our right blinker working. I can't get any lights on the back left for some reason right now though. So we do have our back left blinker. That means we're at least getting power to the left side. We're gonna have to look at the front left and see what's up there, but it's better than we had it. Ooh. Oh no. Oh no. Ow. Oh, that was dumb. Let's not do that again. See how crusty this one is? I'm pretty sure, going to our little chart here, that is the left-hand park and tail lamps. So let's clean that up and maybe we'll have left side tail light. Yeah, back right, still no back left. Wait a minute. How does that work? Now that we're unplugged, we have that light. Okay, well now I'm plugged back in, but I still have that light. That is really confusing to me. Okay, do we still have back left blinker? Yes, we do. I have an exciting update. All of our tail lights are now working. I can't show you the brake lights at the moment, but you'll just have to take my word for it that those work. However, our reverse lights, our running lights, and our blinkers are now working. See, there's left. And I did get our left front working as well. It was just poor contact, actually. Scotch-Brite cleaned that one up. See, right one works too. So this is also kind of exciting. I found this at a garage sale. Top hits of the 50s. I figured we'd try it and see if our stereo works. That didn't sound good. What is going on here? It's back here under the car. Wanted to show we do have a little bit of welding to do. Here's our muffler, and as you can see, it's totally disconnected right at that joint. So I'm going to try laying a bead around this. So I have an update. This is a few days later. We failed our safety inspection for the rear lens on the backup light on the left tail light. And he said that the front and rear brake pads were worn out. And I needed rotors on the front, pads on the front, only pads on the rear. So, thanks to Rock Auto, for $80, I was able to source new rotors, new front pads, and new rear pads on super discount. So, let's get to work putting these on. And, here is the lens he was talking about. I'm going to have to see if I can come up with some kind of clear plastic to cover that, like this piece. It just needs to cover it. It don't even have to be hard plastic. You just need it covered. So let's see if we can figure out something for that and get started on these brakes. So we got our rotor off. That's good. Our bearing feels pretty good and healthy. I'm going to clean up back here just a little bit. I was able to use this rust hole actually to beat on that rotor just a little bit more. I'm hoping there's a rust hole on the other side too. Now I have to put the old brake pads in here, compress both sides. I have to go up top to the master cylinder, open the lid of the master cylinder so that the pressure can go back through the system and not just get bound up in between, release the air out at the top. I've seen several videos where people disconnected the two brake lines down here. I believe this is one brake line per piston on this brake caliper. You can absolutely push it out of the way and get new rotors on without having to disconnect it, because it just turns into a mess if you do. Make sure you have it suspended on a brick and balanced very dangerously. So we got the cap off of our master cylinder up here. And down here, we have to take our old brake pad, rest it on the inside, and compress it with the C-clamp, like this one. As you can see, I already did this side, and it pressed down almost flush here. This side, you can see these boots and how far out the pistons are sticking. Time to compress that side in. Time to clean off this stuff, all the grease that these things come with. Spray it down and keep wiping. It's pretty nice I was able to turn it like that. Most Midwest stuff, that would have been seized up, rusted solid. No chance of moving that like that. So the only way I was able to get the rotor off the other side was there was a nice little rust hole down here in the bottom that I was able to poke something through and hammer on to push it off that way. You can shove a screwdriver in the side and hammer on that. It's good to put penetrant fluid on here. If I can't hit it off, well, I'm going to make this hole a little bigger so I can fit the piece through. Hit on it as hard as I can. If I can't get it off, I may have to take some heat to this rotor to get it off. There she is. There we go. And that is why I advise having a shorter C-clamp. You need a big one, but a shorter one would be nice. I got this side almost cleaned up, ready to put the rotor on. You know it's quality when your rotor comes with giant chips of metal in it from machining it, but it's okay. It seems like a pretty decent rotor actually. Let's get this cleaned up, get the grease off of here, put it on that side. Pro stop! When you really want to stop. For very cheap. It's important to breathe in the dust when you first open them. How you break them in. Get in there. Get in there. You get in there too. Go on. Get in there. Yeah. Oh, look at that car pit stop. Do it ride good? Are the rims big? Ice cream brake job. Rusty in the inside, rusty on the outside. Rusty on the inside, rusty on the outside. Ice cream brake job. All right. Brakes on this side are done. Very nice. These guys are way too tight. There's one rod. Ooh, official Volvo brand. They still had quite a bit of pad. I don't think there was anything wrong back here, but whatever. He said just pads in the rear. That's what he's getting. Yep. Looks like these do not fit. They are just a little too wide, I guess. I might just grind them down and use them anyways, though. No, the pin doesn't go through either. Well, so these were the cheapest of the cheap of brake pads. But the pin does not go through the holes, and they are too wide. The pad is not too wide. I think the pad would work. I'm debating if I should just chop these up a little to make them work, because otherwise it's going to be another couple of days until I get more in. They're very close to fitting. Like, I can make these things fit. Sadly, this is the gamble of working on cars in a limited amount of time in modern day America. Especially with Rock Auto compared to O'Reilly or somewhere local. O'Reilly takes the same amount of time to get parts in usually, but if it's wrong, you can return it. Rock Auto, it's kind of a pain to return it, and you're out the shipping cost with Rock Auto. O'Reilly, you get it all back. But anyways, I'm gonna look into buying some brake pads or somewhere else local for the rears just to get this thing on the road as soon as possible. Anyways, we gotta fix this. This lens that's missing here, I found a piece on eBay to replace that. It's $20. We're not spending $20. So I have this old clear Tupperware container. I'm gonna try cutting a piece out, filling that in. All I'm doing is giving this plastic some WD-40, scuffing up the surface. This way it'll be a little bit hazy, kind of to match the one that's on there. Yep, that's pretty hazy, all right. Let's cut it out. Perfect. Oh, I almost cut it too small. My bad. That'll work. Oh, focus. Yeah, look, it matches the other side perfectly. Oh, I'm gonna make it work, even if it doesn't look right. Classy. All right, I got an update here. It took a day, but I got some Duralast brake pads from AutoZone. Come to find out, they are actually wrong as well. As you can see, same problems, just these holes are not the same size. It's a slightly wider brake pad as well. So I'm going to do the next best thing. Return those, get my money back. We're going to grind down these Rock Auto brake pads to make them work, and I'm going to drill out these holes slightly larger so that I can use them as well. And hopefully they install, they don't catch on the brake caliper and rotor, and we can be good. Unfortunately, I'm now in a time crunch. We took too long. I got a notice from the city, and they really called me out on this one. Vehicles in the process of repair are being stored on jacks/stands in the driveway. I'm on the grass. It's not the driveway. Constituting outdoor storage of inoperable vehicles in violation of the reference code IPMC 302.8 motor vehicles. Store all inoperable vehicles inside a fully enclosed structure, remove from the property, or restore them to operable condition. So that means I have 10 days to get these brake pads on and to glue this piece on and get it back to pass inspection. Then we'll have plates on it and they can't bitch. Wow. Well, now it's time to try putting our custom brake pad into place that we ground down. We still have a small lip in between the pad and the metal here on the edge, so it has something to slide on without grabbing the pad. To compress this piston on the brake caliper, I'm actually using a crowbar. Absolutely the wrong method, but if your rotor is seized on like mine is, you can pry outward, or from the inside, you can go like this and pry outward that way to compress them. Just watch the boot. Oh, nice. Okay, good clearance. Still moves in and out. Okay. Time to make these holes just big enough to match those pins then. Here are our 4 brake pads ground down on the edge to fit. Okay, so that one needs a little more. And that one needs a little more. Okay, this one starts to fit. Still tight, so they all need some more work. Okay, all of our brake pads are now narrow enough to fit into the channel to slide back and forth inside of the caliper. However, I do want to add a tapered edge to the front and back of where I was just grinding down. That way, nothing can catch as it's going that direction. So here's one of our original brake pads laid up over one of the Rock Autos. And it looks like our holes are not really in the right spot, especially this one on the left. So we're going to try and drill those out larger and just see if the pins align correctly once drilling them out enough. We'll try it. I know this seems ridiculous and tedious, and that's because it is, but the reality of it is I don't have enough time to wait for the correct brake pads to get in anymore. I would have thought that Rock Auto and AutoZone would have had something that would work, but it wouldn't be until next week that I could get the right ones from the correct website. So we're going to try, we're just going to keep struggling and try to make this work. Okay, so I got this side set up pretty well here. As you can see, I had to drill slightly larger holes in these brake pads so that they would fit in the right alignment with the pins. Now those holes determine the in or out position of the brake pads. It also keeps them from falling out, which I think is their main purpose, because I think I'm okay with this. I don't think it can bind up going in or out or get trapped sideways either. All this still moves pretty freely on the pins. So I think let's grease it up, put these pins back in permanently, and we'll call it done on this side. That's kind of cool. This block up here is so that you can put your hammer in and pry to press these pins into place. Neat. They both move freely, but they're not going to bind up. I'm happy with that. I think that's a win. Don't forget about that piece in the middle, or you'll have to take it apart and do it all over again like I just did. So I got the brake pads out of this side, and in my opinion, these have plenty of meat left and did not need replaced, but I'm already here. I'm doing it. It's the last thing I need, and then this car can be legal. We're set. Let's clean this up. I'm going to press these pistons back in as well. And then I got to modify the new brake pads with the other drilled holes and put them in. Well, here we are next morning. I got the brake pads installed on both sides. We're going to give them a test and see how they work. But also, I was able to glue on that cover with a little bit of epoxy. So now, look, can't even tell. It looks factory. Amazing. Best of all, free. Next thing, I wanted to wait to do this till the morning so I didn't wake up the neighbors at all. I'm going to start the car, I'm going to put it in drive, and with it moving, I'm going to take a grinder and knock down this nice lip that's on the edge here. I did feel in behind it. I wouldn't be able to grind behind it because there's nowhere to do it, but I don't feel a lip on the backside. This will just give our pads a nicer surface to rest on. It'll help. So I'm going to knock that down just because I'm here and it's easy. Let's see on the other side. And also, other side has a lip too, so I'm just going to hit both of them while I'm here. And then we're slapping these tires on, and we're off to get inspected. Well, here we are, test driving Volvo. So the brakes do work better. I don't really think it needed them myself, but whatever. Now we got new brakes, don't have to do that for a long time. Let's go get it inspected. Great news, you guys. We're legal. Passed inspection. We're all set to go. We now have ourselves a new daily driver. I think I'm going to call it on this video. In the next one, I'm going to start doing some body work. I'm going to clean it up further as well. The original owners of this car actually live about 20 or 30 minutes from me, and I know that because I found some original paperwork in the glove box from them. So I'm going to load up the family. We're going to go see if they're still there and what they think of the car today. We're also going to do several Volvo things. If there's something that Volvo owners do that you think I should do with this car, let me know. Make sure to like and subscribe or something.